Hi, I'm Mayor Jay Tibshraeny, and welcome to this edition of Chandler Inside and Out. One of my favorite things in Chandler, and I have a lot of favorite things in Chandler, obviously, but one of them is our great parks and community service programs. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that for the next half hour. Joining us today in studio, Park Development and Operations Manager Mickey Ohland. Hello. And Recreation Manager Barbara Young. I've worked with both of you guys for a number of years. Barbara a little longer than Mickey. Okay. But anyway, let's hear a little bit about yourself. We'll go to you first, Barbara. Tell the folks a little about you, your background, that kind of thing.
Certainly. Thank you. And thank you for having myself as well as Mickey. We always like the opportunity to talk about parks and recreation in this great city of Chandler. So basically, you mentioned we've worked together for quite some time. I started in 1989 and have been with the city for, I guess, almost 27 years.
Long time.
And prior to that, ASU graduate, Yahoo, you know, call out to the ASU Sun Devils, and left there to do an internship and with the city in Utah, and from there was hired full-time and worked my way up for about 8 years, and then always wanted to come back to the warm weather that we have here in Arizona, and had the fortune to be hired by the city of Chandler.
Awesome. So you came to Chandler in '89. Mm-hmm. So what are your current duties? My
current duties as recreation manager is I have the responsibility for overseeing the operations of the recreation division, as well as the overall operations of the 6 facilities within recreation. So we program for all ages.
It's grown a little since '89, hasn't it?
It's grown a lot since 1989.
We're going to expand on that just a bit. Mickey, a little bit about your background, sure, where you came from, maybe some of your current duties, sure, at the city of Chandler.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. And I, too, would like to thank you for inviting us to talk about something that we're very passionate about, Parks and Recreation, Barbara and I. I was born and raised in Texas, married to my beautiful wife for the past 20 years. I have twin daughters that are going off to college next year, so we'll be empty nesters, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll figure that out. About 20 years ago, 1995, I saw the light, came out to Arizona, was very fortunate to be employed with the city of Chandler and been employed with Chandler since then. I've been very lucky over that time to work with a lot of great people on a lot of different projects, neat park projects. Over the past 20 years, we've built over 30 parks and a lot of unique facilities that we'll talk about later.
Right.
But it's been great, and it's something that I'm very passionate and love working here.
Good. Thanks for being here.
You bet.
Yeah, we're going to spend some time talking about good things, warm, fuzzy things. Everybody likes parks. Everybody likes community service programs. So, yeah, this is great today. Right. Let's start with our tennis center, Barbara. You oversee the tennis center. We did a lot of work on that over a couple of years ago and resurfaced it, a big renovation, did a nice rededication, and we were rewarded this past year with a nice national award. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. It was really nice the day that we received the notification that the United States Tennis Association bestowed their annual award, Featured Facility Award, to the Chandler Tennis Center. And how that works is they actually choose 13 winners, and from the 13 winners, they choose one grand winner, and the grand winner was the Chandler Tennis Center. The award is based on excellence on a number of things: the court design and layout, the lighting, the maintenance of the facility, the player accommodations, and also the growth of the game of tennis.
Right. It's a big deal, that award. I can't understate that or overstate that enough. It's a major national award, and for that to land in Chandler or something. And you've been involved with the tennis center for a few years now. Why don't you talk a little bit about the evolution of the tennis center.
Absolutely. The tennis center, and what's interesting is Mickey mentioned that he came in 1995, and the Chandler Tennis Center was actually one of his first projects as far as the design and working with the architects and the developer. And then when it opened in 1996, it fell in under my area of responsibility. And originally, the tennis center was contracted out. And then in, I think it was 2002, the decision was made for the city to take it back and operate and maintain it. And I think that was a real turning point in the success of that facility.
Because we had some fits and starts with that initially, but that's a learning curve too.
Yeah, it was definitely a learning curve. And if you remember the times, that was mid-90s, and that was before the mall and before a lot of the development here. And we relied, Parks and Recreation both relied a lot on partnerships. Right. And so
budgets were a little tighter.
Exactly.
And that's out by Tumbleweed. It's near the intersection of Germain and McQueen. And that has been a really nice facility, and that whole area, that whole park has been really nice. So
it's a wonderful facility, and it's well used, and hopefully going forward we can expand the hours of operation there to accommodate even more people. But it was a national award. It was a very prestigious award, and we all should be very proud. And you said it best when you said, what we have known locally about the Chandler tennis, now the rest of the country now knows. So.
And so for folks out there that want to maybe use the center, how many courts are there, and then how do they go about if they want to play tennis out there?
There's actually 15 lighted courts, and anyone that's interested, we have all kinds of programs that they can sign up for, as well as just those that just want to go out and drop in and play with a partner, or even if you don't have a partner, we have ball machines, and one of the additions that we added during the most recent renovation is a hitting wall. So one of our customer service enhancements this past year, the court reservations are now online. So you can go online and make reservations, or you can still, call in and make a reservation.
Great. Good stuff. Yeah. So Mickey, last month we dedicated a neighborhood park, a new neighborhood park, and also a renovation to a park. So, and that renovation was one of our older and most popular parks. Has a lot of history to it, which you'll talk about. But maybe talk about those two parks. I think one was Citrus Vista, and then obviously the other one is the renovation to Foley Park in more of our central city.
Sure. Yeah, last month we finished the construction, and we had the ribbon cutting ceremony for Citrus Vista Park in southeast Chandler. It's next to Ryan Elementary. It's a 10-acre neighborhood park, and as you know, we're very proud of the fact of the public meeting process that we go through on our park development projects, and that project was no different.
Very thorough and very transparent.
Exactly, and we want to get the citizens involved. It's their park, so I want to make sure the amenities that are included in the park are what they want. So we had a meeting, public meetings about a year ago, got input, a lot of good input, and the end result was exactly, we come up with a conceptual master plan for the park, and what gets built is exactly what they want from those public meetings. And that park's being well used today. It was definitely popular, a lot of people waiting for it down in that area. It's got basketball courts, sand volleyball courts, horseshoe pits, bocce court, ramadas, playground, shaded playground that we're doing now. Swing sets, and a lot of turf. So, that's one of the things that we get requests for is walking paths and turf. So that's got both, and it's been very popular so far.
And the shade's a thing we've really been going to because it gets hot in the summer.
Yes, sir. And Mayor, you and the council over the past several years have made that a priority as far as shading our playgrounds. And last year we had 54 playgrounds, and we completed shading all of them, so to shade the kids that are playing on those. So very big milestone for us.
So Citrus Vista would be Chandler Heights, Val Vista area?
Chandler Heights, Lindsay, and Gilbert Roads.
And talk about our plan for those kind of parks before we go on to talk
Sure.
about Foley, and that is one park per each square mile, because Chandler's spectacular for a lot of reasons.
Right.
One is we have a lot of parks.
Right, and we've got 65 parks, 49 of those being neighborhood parks.
Yeah.
And the goal of the city is to provide at least one 10-acre neighborhood park in every square mile. And the reason behind that is to make sure that all of our residents are within blocks of a park. And by placing the neighborhood parks in the center of a square mile, and we try to do it next to a school if possible, the users don't have to cross major arterial streets. We design those parks for the neighborhood. We want to make sure we're meeting the open space needs of those residents. So, you won't see baseball fields or restrooms or parking lots or those types of things. They're designed to walk or ride your bike to, recreate, have fun, and then go
For
back.
that neighborhood.
Exactly. So, the city has done an outstanding job. We have 3 more parks to build, neighborhood parks to build, and we'll have met our goal.
Unbelievable.
Yes, so it's very well planned. City's very well planned from that standpoint, and a lot to do with your leadership and council support.
The 3 that are left, are they in the CIP over the next 5 years? Or?
Yes, sir. Lantana Ranch, Layton Lakes is in for next year for
Right.
construction. So we'll start the public meeting process in the coming year. And then we have Homestead North and Homestead South. And those are about 2 to 3 years out.
There's something going on at the corner of the east corner of McQueen and Queen Creek. Is that a park, or
That's
by the Paseo there?
Yeah, that's Lantana Ranch.
Okay.
And that's in the CIP. It's a little farther out.
Okay.
And the thought behind that is because it's by the airport. So we're somewhat limited what we can do. And one of the things we've found is, we need more space for barbers programs and recreation programs as far as youth sports for practice fields. And so the thought behind that park is going to be open turf where sports teams can practice and that type of thing. So that'll probably be in the next 10 years.
Good. That day that we dedicated Citrus Vista, we also rededicated all the renovation work that we did at Foley Park.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that and that park a little bit.
You bet. Foley Park was originally constructed in early 70s, so it's one of our older parks.
And it's not a neighborhood park.
No,
either.
it's a community park. So it's got athletic fields, it's got restrooms, parking, larger park, 25 acres, and needed a facelift. And one of the things, Mayor, and you and the council, over the past 10, 15 years, we've built a lot of new parks. And the one thing that you made a priority is to make sure we don't forget about our older parks, such as Foley. And so what we try to do is go and renovate 1 or 2 of those a year to bring them up to the current standards and amenities. So Foley Park, like I said, 25 acres, and a little bit of history, I guess, is that might be the viewers might like to know, is it was named after in honor of Zora Foley, who fought for the heavyweight championship in the 60s against Muhammad Ali. So kind of neat thing there. But we went in, renovated the basketball courts, put in new irrigation. There were a lot of ramadas that we renovated and replaced. Gave it an overall facelift, and it's being enjoyed as well.
So again, that's considered a community park?
Yes, sir. So we have neighborhood parks, community parks, regional parks, and special use parks.
Yeah. You mentioned it's named after a famous person from Chandler, Zora Foley, who was a heavyweight professional boxer. And yes, he did fight Muhammad Ali in 1967, I think the spring. I didn't win that fight, but it was one of the last fights Ali fought before he was stripped of his heavyweight championship because of all the stuff that was going on with the draft and the Vietnam War. And he didn't fight for another 3.5 years after that. And then he got back in and came back and won the heavyweight championship again. I went to high school and through school with his son, Zora Foley Jr., who's still a resident of Chandler.
Right.
So
and we tried to bring a little bit of that into the design of the renovations. It's not, you have to kind of look, but the sign, the new park monument sign is in the shape of a boxing ring.
Oh, good.
So it kind of emulates that. So we've tried to have some fun there.
I'm going to reintroduce the show, and then we'll be right back at both of you.
Sure.
I'm Mayor Jay Tibshraeny. You're watching Chandler Inside and Out. Thanks for joining us today as we talk about parks and recreation and community service programs in Chandler. So, Barbara, you're in charge of the Tumbleweed Rec Center. Talk a little bit about the evolution of that center. We've got a lot of acres, and it's almost all built on now, but a little bit about that and where we're at with Tumbleweed these days.
Okay, I'll be more than happy to talk about the Recreation Center, and you can talk about the remaining phases of Tumbleweed Park. Tumbleweed Recreation Center sits right within Tumbleweed Regional Park.
Okay.
And we actually, there was a bond referendum that was passed on that, and we actually started telephone surveys back in 2002 to our residents as to what would they like to see.
Right.
Kind of do the same process as what the parks staff does. We're really transparent. We wanted to know. We visualize this as being the granddaddy of all with our rec centers, and that it would, sit in the center of Chandler within smaller rec centers geographically located, throughout. So the Tumbleweed Recreation Center opened to the public 2008. It actually opened during the recession and was very, very, very well received and continues to be so. It's about 65,000 square feet with some amenities that you won't find at our satellite sites, such as a gymnasium. It does have an indoor track. It's got close to, I think, 7,500 square feet of a fitness floor that has cardio and weights that we are always changing out and keeping up with the latest trends. It's got an art and ceramic studio. It's got dance studios. There's child watch there, so when you're in the facility and you're working out or attending a class, you can bring your child and have us watch them. It's got 2 racquetball courts that's utilized quite a bit. So those are some of the amenities within. As far as the programs, you'll find the same programs and services for the most part offered there that you will find at our other centers.
Right.
We'd like to have that consistency. If somebody wants a beer permit, they can go to the closest, rec center, community center to them and be able to get a beer permit or make a ball field reservation or a light reservation. If they want to attend classes, there's classes that are offered from preschool up to adults. So it's a very special facility. It's geared towards all generations.
Right.
And we see all generations.
What floor are the racquetball courts on?
Second
They're
floor.
on the second, which
Yes.
is up where the jogging path is
Correct.
and some of the machinery for working out and what have you.
Exactly.
I've used those basketball courts. I did a little crazy basketball shot a couple months ago.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
It's like a half-court shot back.
And you made it, if I
made it.
remember right.
Yes, I did.
Yes,
I did.
yes.
Talk about some other facilities you oversee. It's not every day you make a shot like that.
So the 6 recreation facilities that we have within Chandler is the community center and the senior center are the 2 oldest facilities. They opened just a couple of months. They're in downtown Chandler. And the community center is open to obviously all ages, serves all ages. And same services that I just mentioned that you can get at Tumbleweed Recreation Center, you can receive there as well. Adjacent to that is the senior center, which is geared more towards the senior population, which we're finding out is just a growing population. So we cater, we try and provide all services to them. There's actually a lunch program that you can partake in. We do home delivered meals as well in partnership with the Gilbert Senior Center and the Chandler Christian Community Center. So if you're interested in senior programs, that would be a facility for those to attend. And then at Snedegar Sportsplex, within that, there is a satellite rec center there.
Right.
And I'm sure you remember that was actually the Milwaukee Brewers clubhouse for their minor league program.
Right.
That when they left Chandler, we turned that into a rec center. So that that serves, I guess that would be the southeast area of Chandler,
Yeah.
fairly well. And then about the same time that the Tumbleweed Recreation Center opened in 2008, the Environmental Education Center, which is on Chandler Heights and Lindsay, that
Right.
sits within Veterans Oasis Park. That's roughly about 115, 118 acres. And that's a more specialized facility. Again, we program for all ages there, but it's more about the outdoors and the environment.
It's very unique. Yeah,
It's very
unique.
unique. Very unique.
You know, we've done a lot of good work with our facilities, like when you mentioned the two downtown, the community center and the senior center. One thing I've really liked to see in the last 5-6 years is the renovations to keep them modern, to upgrade them, to expand them. Like with the community center, we got rid of all those trees that had kind of attracted a lot of birds and what have you. And then senior centers continued to improve that. So we've continued to expand on those and keep them modern and keep them good. And you're right, that senior facility just gets tremendous use.
It does get tremendous use, and you know, and the philosophy that Mickey mentioned earlier with Mayor and Council, and that is you know, taking care of our older, you know, parks
Right.
applies to the same with our facilities, and we have done some very nice improvements.
Good. Mickey, we've talked a little bit about neighborhood parks. And you kind of told everybody what our goal is there. We've talked about some of the community parks. Right. Talk about some of our unique parks that we have that you're kind of oversee.
Sure.
Because we got some real unique stuff.
Yeah, Mayor, I mean, there's not a week that doesn't go by that I get calls from all over the country asking about our park system. And I like to think, you know, Chandler's on the front edge of, you know, park development and making sure our residents' needs are met. We have a skate park. We were one of the first in the valley to build a skate park down at Snedeker. Very well received. We have a bike park, one of the first in the state to do that. The Paseo Trail that runs along the Consolidated Canal. We were one of the first to develop that, work with SRP in developing that. Interesting thing about that, probably 90% of that project was funded using federal money. So it helped our citizens. It's used daily, you know, a lot. We have dog parks.
Couple of them.
We have 4 dog parks that are used big time, you know. And then we have the Paseo Vista Recreation Area. And, you know, for people that weren't around back in the day, that used to be the city landfill.
Yes.
And so basically turned the closed landfill into a recreational area, which is very unique. It has an archery range, you know, pretty much right in the middle of the city. We have an outdoor archery range, frisbee golf, dog parks, a host of walking trails. Just super popular.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, we've been on the front, the leading edge of developing those types of parks, and that's what our citizens are requesting.
Paseo Trail is how many miles in Chandler?
About 8 miles.
Yeah. I love getting on there because, you know, you can walk, run, bike. The other side, there's a lot of horses you see.
Right.
It's pretty unique.
Right.
Up a little further north on, well, about the middle of the trail, there's the llamas rescue place. So they got, and they're not there in the summer because it's too hot, but pretty much from October through the end of May, we got a bunch of llamas on that trail. They're inside a fence. So, yeah, there's all kinds of good things going on.
And we were one of the first cities, you know, years ago, you know, SRP wasn't real open to allowing people on their canals. And I think with the work from Mayor and Council you guys did with SRP, you know, kind of paved that trail, so to speak, and now other cities are doing it as well.
It's nice that they've opened it up so that, because it is kind of a natural resource as much as we can have.
Of course.
The Paseo Vista Park that you talk about, that's the highest point in Chandler. One day we'll have to snow ski from that mountain.
Right, we'll see about that. Yeah. And the second highest is? Don't want to stump the mayor.
City Hall. No, I don't know.
Veterans Oasis.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's
by a couple feet.
Because it's got a,
I thought that was the highest.
Yeah. My brother,
well, we flip a coin.
He works there. It's got a nice jogging path and what have you.
Yeah. No, and like I said, our parks are second to none. And I've got the best job in the world. I won't, you know, hesitate to say that. We've got a great park system here.
I'm going to have you talk a little bit about some of the more popular recreational programs at our different facilities and how you kind of figure out or decide what are we going to offer, because it's a changing thing, probably based on customer preference and what have you.
It's any day is a coin toss. No, I'm just kidding. We have, you know, with that, Mayor, I just have to say our staff is the most talented and creative staff ever. They just, you know, we do a lot of reaching out to the public, a lot of surveys. There's networks now within, you know, our association, whether it's state, whether it's national. They're continuing to you know, attend those workshops and stay up on what the latest trends are. A lot of it also is people reaching out to us. You know, we have different tiers of instructors, and probably majority of the instructors that we have are those that just have a love of a particular area of interest,
Right.
whether you know, scrapbooking was the craze for the longest time, or whether it's photography, and they just reach out to us and ask, you know, is there,
Right.
you know, I have a love, I'd love to share it. Is there an opportunity? And so, you know, that's actually a big way of how we, you know, get instructors. And then, you know, another tier are those that are in the business, that perhaps you have the professor that's teaching financial classes at one of the community colleges, or someone that's teaching Adobe Acrobat or photography that wants to, you know, share that love too, and maybe, you know, have a little extra income.
Yeah.
So as far as some of the popular classes, you know, anything that has mommy and me in the title is a hit. And so preschools, we just cannot offer enough preschool classes.
I got you.
But, you know, anywhere from fitness classes to educational classes to environmental classes, you know, those are just really popular. Anything with intercession, part of the title because of the Chandler School District, and, you know, having the 3 intercessions that they have, and camps in the titles.
Good. Thank you. I'd like to keep going, but we've run out of time. I've even got a few questions left. We'll put a website on the screen so that folks can go to the website and look at the different parks, the different programs we have. But thanks to both of you guys for being here today and sharing with everybody a little bit about our community services and parks. Good stuff.
Thank you.
I'm Mayor Jay Tibshraeny. You've been watching Chandler Inside and Out. Thanks for joining us today. Until we see you again, take care and be safe.